Hello and welcome back to Movie Baiters with the Farx Brothers. I'm Kirk.
I'm Kyle.
And we are still with Brandon Mitchell, cinematographer. We're now going to be talking about Guardians of the Galaxy spoilers.
The whole trilogy.
All right, the trilogy.
The whole trilogy?
I have to tie up the last thing we were talking about. You were absolutely correct. It's 1989 when the sensational She-Hulk first started breaking the fourth wall. The 1991 comic that you referred to, the first appearance of Deadpool, is 2 years later, and he didn't start breaking the fourth wall until like the late 20 issues of his comic. So 1997 is when he started breaking the fourth wall. So she had him beat by like 8 years.
Wait, you looked that up while you were in the restroom?
I took a pee between the episodes, which is what people come here for, and I looked that up on the perplexity.ai. Because that's the AI. And then no free ads, but I would love if Perplexity was like, oh, good, we're going to favor you in our algorithm, movie baiters. Because when you type in Farx Brothers, it still comes up with the Marx Brothers on most of these. Sorry.
Oh.
Brandon, what is the best villain in the three movies? Kirk and I picked a different one than you do.
I would say the last movie. I forget his name.
The High Evolutionary.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I would say him. I would say him over
Ronan and
Kurt
Ego.
Russell.
Ego.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah,
I
they
would
have
say him.
names.
They have actor names too.
Yeah.
Are you going to take Ego or are you going to take Ronan?
I'll take Ego. Yeah, Ronan's the weakest.
Yeah, they kind of nerfed him. I think he could have been a lot more.
He works with Thanos. That's a big deal.
Yeah, but he was kind of pouty, and they didn't give him that much to do.
Comes back in Captain Marvel. I've run out of
Pretty cool.
arguments for
Yeah.
Ronan.
He was kind of like Steppenwolf in like the
Justice League.
League. Yeah, he kind of
yeah.
came in. He
Middle
wasn't.
management.
I watched, or I owned, a Zack Snyder's Justice League, so I know that what's his name comes in. Doomsday? No, not Doomsday. The actual bad guy that what's his name stands in for.
Darkseid.
Darkseid. Yes.
Dark
Side. It's written seed. It's
Yeah.
pronounced side. I'm sorry. I know. Yes, Darkseid is actually in the 4-hour version of Justice League.
He is, which is a much better cut.
Oh hell
It
yeah!
is, but
Much better.
you can't tell your story in less than like 3 hours. I know.
You watched
What are
The
you doing?
Brutalist with me.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
I was trying to start. I started that. I haven't finished it yet. The Brutalist. I probably got maybe like 15 minutes in and just haven't finished it up.
So you got to the masturbation?
Is that 15
Where
minutes
she's
in?
masturbating him? Yeah.
Oh.
Oh man,
It's like,
maybe
what,
I
are
missed-
you
maybe it was
gay
less
or something?
Maybe it was less than 15 minutes. Maybe only 10. I didn't see
He
anybody.
gets
get-
off the
I don't
boat
know
and
that.
basically goes to a whorehouse in The Brutalist.
Oh, right, yeah.
Yeah. Don't worry. It gets weirder and grosser later on
Yeah.
in The Brutalist.
Very dark.
We watched it in IMAX, and I know that we're here to talk about Guardians trilogy, but this at least dates this spoiler version of the. I don't have any more arguments for Ronan. What's your argument for the High Evolutionary?
He killed a whole. It's got a whole planets because they weren't perfect. And I think that's like it's that type of that mental unstableness is that was just over the top for me. Like he just killed a whole planet just because it was like, they didn't do what I want them to do. This didn't work out. Gone.
Here's why that's not so bad.
Wow. Are you gonna argue for the destruction of a planet?
No.
In
Follow me.
countless lives, really?
You know how we do scientific research with like on mice and other types of beings, shall we say?
Yeah, but these were smart animals. I mean, smart people. They were actually people, though.
You don't know what intelligence a rodent has.
They talked.
Or like the pigs. Oh, just because they talk?
Yeah, they had culture that lives.
Misa speak. Misa smart. And I think that's
Who's
what.
that?
You don't know who that was?
No.
Brandon will tell you.
That's Jar Jar Binks.
Oh. The impression wasn't good.
Wait, am I allowed to do a Jar Jar Binks since that's a...
I don't know. I don't even. Again, if
Wait, why can't you do Jar
the
Jar
other
Binks?
topic is why fanboys killed Star Wars, I would have definitely been in on that.
Actually, that's an interesting thought, is why have fanboys not killed the Marvel Universe? And I could think of some that have. And we'll get back to the villain thing. Why is the true villain the fans? It's
Why?
the voters' fault.
Because this is my philosophy on it. This is how I think about it. So making the film is collaborative art. It's not just us in a room sitting there writing some stuff out for doing whatever. There's a lot of different things that you can't do when you don't have the rights to every single character. In Civil War, like when I would like the because I've got those issues of the actual Civil War. It's a much larger group of Marvel characters. It's like everybody is fighting.
Yeah.
It doesn't end like it does in the movies, but you have to do something to kind of work with the characters that you have. The biggest thing was them being able to get the rights to Spider-Man, because if you don't have Spider-Man, you can't technically do Civil War right. So it's like
and Spider-Man reveals who he is in Civil War, whereas he doesn't reveal who he is in Civil War, the Captain America movie.
Right. But like you still set up that whole relationship with him and Tony Stark. And that's like a big part of like the Civil War thing. Mm-hmm. So like if you don't have the rights to all these characters, then you have to pretty much be creative and make it up yourself. And hopefully you have enough people who are like actually either like Marvel people or DC people who can actually like say, okay, cool, we can change this character enough to make it work here. Change the to work there, because like it's almost like you're like starting your own line. Like it almost has to branch off and be its own thing.
Like the multiversal timeline has to branch off and be its own thing.
Because you don't have rights. It costs way too much money. You know, there's a whole bunch of stuff involved in it. But the whole thing is like telling a story. Like I don't think you shouldn't sacrifice. I think you can bend canon or sacrifice canon to tell a good story. Yeah. Especially when it comes to film. When it comes to certain stuff that's like that has such a, I can almost say like a religious following, like Star Wars. If you do that, those individuals will just completely bash the film before they even get a chance to see it, because either they've heard something, they cast somebody that they don't think should be in it. Like when they were doing
Last Jedi, and Kelly Marie Tran basically quit acting because of how she was treated. Speaking of Star Wars,
I mean
sorry.
I like it when they go off the actual path. Like that in the second trilogy of the last trilogy of Star Wars, the second film. I think those two brothers were trying to break away from what traditional Star Wars was. They were trying. I think they were trying to do that in so many ways, because there's a whole part when Yoda says, "Listen, like these are just books. You know what I'm saying? This isn't what we actually are." That line there said, "Okay, cool. What you know from now on out should be different." Just like when they and I know I'm jumping around films, but in Star Trek, like when they redid all like the Star Trek films when they destroyed Vulcan,
the Kelvin timeline.
Now that said, we can do whatever we want to on the back end of this, because we've basically gotten away from something that's canon. Now we can make our own story. We can make our own line, and I think that's something that I think people that are such diehard fans don't realize that like filmmakers and storytellers need to do in order to be able to make their own path, to be able to create stories with these like characters. So when it comes down to like stuff like making a character black, or making a character like a woman, or making like
the Silver Surfer,
right, or even making Supergirl be like a Latina chick with like dark hair, like even doing that stuff.
Oh sure.
That stuff, you should have the agency to do that, because you're basically right. You're making your own line.
I think anyone that cares about what color Supergirl's hair is not getting with any girls, super or otherwise.
But I mean,
incels.
I mean, she's also Kryptonian, so I don't think it really matters.
Right.
The skin color.
Yeah, and it's a fictional character. Yeah. Like it's not like you're making JFK like
a black-haired guy
from Milwaukee, you know what I'm saying? Like you're not changing real history. You're just changing a character that could be written and changed a totally different way. Like nobody had a problem when Samuel Jackson is
Nick Fury,
right? Because like in a certain timeline, he is Nick Fury. Like,
in the Ultimates timeline, right? And they based the Ultimates Nick Fury off.
Nobody had a problem with that.
I prefer Nick Fury as Samuel Jackson to David Hasselhoff.
Yeah, any day of the week. And that's not to say I don't like David Hasselhoff. Like
who's in Guardians 2?
Yeah, and who's Knight Rider?
He has a Knight Rider. Yeah, he talked to his car.
He did.
Why did he talk to his car?
Because I think it was like, wasn't it low-key sentient a little bit?
Yeah, it just helped him.
Like Kit?
Yeah, solve mysteries.
I was making a joke because Gamora says that when you said low-key just now, I thought you were referring to low-key.
Oh.
See, we got to be careful when we talk about the MCU because we can go anywhere. So,
which is a dope series, by the way.
Which, I'm more on Kirk's side of Ego being a better villain than the High Evolutionary. even though I like Rocket better as a protagonist than I do Star-Lord. But I'll look to you guys to make your arguments against one another.
Well, I mean, I guess with Ego, it's a lot more personal for Quill. He doesn't really do anything too bad. I mean, he sleeps with a ton of people, and
He
then
gave cancer to Quill's mom.
yeah, and
and
then
killed all those
them.
people.
Yeah, he did.
Maybe are they on the same level? Maybe.
Oh,
Right?
quick! I got to make my argument about like when I said killing whole planets was fine that the Hive Evolutionary did. I knew a guy that had to like order a bunch of mice and like give them injections and then break their spines to like do tests on their spinal fluid. And I remember him telling me this at a party once. He was dating someone that I knew through improv or had dated, doesn't matter. And he's just so I break little mice's backs all day. And he was getting his PhD in some kind of biological research because they were making something for like some sort of spinal disease.
Yeah, that'd be hard for me.
You don't name them.
I mean, yeah, but I mean that would still be hard for me. Like I have a hard time like when we have mice in our house and the mouse in the trap. I'm like, this mouse didn't make it. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, that's me. I'm that guy.
That's Rocket. Oh no, because he's a rodent too. What's a raccoon?
Oh man, that's tough.
What's your high evolutionary argument?
I guess it would be that it's this pursuit of perfectionism. That I think it's something that you're always trying to pursue, but if you think that you can actually get it, you're never gonna get it. It's just always, and once you get to one spot, it's just gonna be another spot. There's never that like. I'm not saying that you should be complacent, but there's never a point where you're like, okay, cool, this is where it is, and I'm okay with it. Like in like some way, shape, or form, it's always trying to find something perfect. So even when you see him, like he goes from having hair and not having a whole lot of like extra stuff put on him to where the point where he has no hair at all. And he's like he's mostly a cyborg toward like the end of the film, and it's like he's constantly making improvements on himself without ever saying that, okay, cool, I've improved enough. Like, and I think that to me that's kind of scary. Like, as much as I try to be as perfect as I possibly can in certain stuff, you have to come to a level where it's like, okay, cool, I'm good here. Like, he never gets to that level.
He's a broligarch because he wants to just keep improving and getting more market share in a sense. And I was going to compare like Ego to, an enabler of broligarchs in the sense of daddy's coming home and it's time you're getting a spanking. That's what Guardians 2 is. Sorry to quote Tucker Carlson at a Turning Point convention.
Oh, I wouldn't have known.
I couldn't help myself. It's one of the weirdest things that that guy. He's an engaging writer from everything I've heard, but that was a weird one. I think I'm an Ego guy since he like it's so much more fucked up to like bone Quill's mom and have boned so many other people before that. Because Kirk, what'd you point out about what would Ego have had to do?
He had to create a body with different shapes for his penis. Has to be a different shape for every creature or every species that he sleeps with.
Yeah, right?
I didn't think of it like that.
Yeah.
Because you see him form bodies. And so, like, that's way more weird than, like, making animals all weird.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm going to have to agree with you now. I definitely think Ego is probably the worst now. Full knowing that you're not going to have any romantic nothing with this is just to do this and to procreate.
Yeah. I'm glad he doesn't fuck the animals, the high evolutionary, and everything that we know. Whereas, like, I know the collector fucks Kiara? No. Like the things he collects.
Oh,
the pink girl that touches the power stone in Guardians 1. That's with the collector.
Well, how do you know he sleeps with them?
I just had that, like, it's definitely, the collector seems like he does. You don't think the collector slept with her?
No.
Was she a collection or was she just like an assistant?
Well, she's an assistant that can be demoted to collection because one of the things that the collector says to her is that, hey, remember what happened to the person before you? And she's like in one of those collection boxes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think you would also bang your collection. You're going to damage the item.
I might be a little fucked up because my wife and I watched the season finale of Bookie season 2. And this guy's got a mail order bride, and when he gives her something, he makes her say, "Please, Daddy," and that was the vibe I got out of the collector in all of his scenes.
Yeah, they didn't use the collector that much in the MCU.
How do they use him in the comics? I'm not as familiar with the collector from the comics.
I'm not very familiar with him either.
I don't really get, because he was the one that was teased at the end of Thor: The Dark World, which I know you didn't see. And then it's like, wait, what's that guy going to be doing in Guardians? And it's like, oh, it's the Infinity Stone stuff.
Yeah, he was collecting the stones, but then that really didn't go anywhere.
Well, he's in competition with Thanos to get the stones because he just likes collecting things, whereas Thanos is trying to amass power.
But he does a better job than Thanos because he's got two, right? He had the Power Stone, and then he had the Reality Stone.
But then in Infinity War, he gets them.
Yeah.
Thanos gets them from the Collector. So
he kind of felt like he was like just like a small in between. Like, how does he get this? We'll just put the Collector in there and just put him in there. It didn't feel like he had a whole lot of, almost like when he was in like that second Star Wars, that second Star Wars of the third
Benicio.
Yeah, like it
just
felt
call
like
it
he
The
was
Last Jedi or Episode 8. It's way easier.
Is it episode? I thought is The Last Jedi. It is The Last Jedi.
He is The Last Jedi, and he's the one that points out, hey man, the weapons manufacturers are selling the weapons to both sides.
Yeah,
that's working out really well for them.
Which again could have been a totally different line, but
could have been a totally different what?
Could have been a totally different line. It could have been a totally different way. Like, stuff was set up, and then you get that trashy last movie that, it was so bad. God, it was so bad.
I'm glad J.J. Abrams versus James Gunn. I guess I prefer James Gunn to J.J. Abrams' style of storytelling, since he got 2 Star Treks and 2 Star Warses.
Did he write those Star Trek movies?
He was involved in the... No, it was... Kurtzman and Orsi, I think, on the first Star Trek. The Star Trek 11, the first of the Kelvin series. 2009 Star Trek. We are such nerds.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't seen a lot of J.J. Abrams films to compare to James Gunn.
Well, you've seen Mission Impossible 3.
Oh, that was him?
Yeah.
I saw Super 8. I know that's him.
Super who?
Super 8, yeah.
That's his only original, you know? But it's good. I like that. I like Super 8. I own that one.
Has he done anything since? He hasn't done anything in a while, has he?
He's been focused on TV. He was going to be doing the Black Superman movie. What's that guy's name? You know who I'm talking about?
Steel?
No, that's not Steel. That's...
Oh, is there actual Black Superman?
Yeah, in the comics.
I can't think of his name.
He's got like armor and he has a hammer, right?
Armor and he has a hammer.
But
he has a bodysuit of armor.
Yeah, it was when Superman was dead and a whole bunch of other people came up.
Yeah.
I'm
Okay.
trying to think of it. But there is somebody that's considered Black Superman in DC, and I can't think of his name right now.
Adam Warlock is wasted because he's scarier in the comic books and he's silly in the third movie, and he's basically a Superman.
I'd agree with
bring
that.
him up. Oh, okay.
I would definitely agree. There's no debate. I would definitely agree with that. I honestly, like, if you kind of take Adam Warlock out of it, I still think it's a pretty decent film.
Well, like you were saying with Civil War and Spider-Man, Adam Warlock is pretty essential to Infinity War, isn't he? Or the Infinity storyline from like the 70s or 80s?
That's the one. I didn't get into that comic. Like, I didn't get into the Infinity War thing like everybody else did. Like, the Infinity War was like shown to me through the actual films. Okay. So I don't have a lot of backstory on Infinity War.
And then also Thanos is like trying to get Death to fall in love with him, and Death has an actual like...
Doesn't Adam Warlock actually have the Soul Stone, or is that
I'll let you Google it. Why?
I can't remember it all.
It does kind of bother me that the second movie is more about, like, the second movie fits more after the Infinity Endgame Avengers story, because that sets up the Celestials for us. And then the first one deals with the Infinity Stones, and it's clearly like, oh, we're going to be getting to that. But it comes out in such a weird order, because you go from you go from Guardians, and then you see the Avengers again in Age of Ultron, and they're dealing with stone stuff. And in retrospect, I guess it's weird to me that then you go to Guardians Volume 2, and you're dealing with, oh, here's how Celestials and Eternals turn out. Do you have the answer?
Yeah, he has the Soul Gem in the comics. Adam Warlock uses that.
Because the Soul is the Soul Stone is like the ether, right?
No, the Soul Stone is the soul for a soul, in
Oh,
the
that's
MCU,
right.
yeah.
Yep.
The one you have to get on, is it Morag?
Vormir
Vormir you go
Yeah.
to.
And
Yeah, Morag.
that's when they
toss Gamora
Gamora
off.
off the
Yeah.
edge. Yep.
In
And then,
Infinity War. Yeah, and that's the
Black
other
Widow.
thing is that if you're just watching the Guardians trilogy, I don't like it as much as maybe I'd go with Captain America because you have to have seen Infinity War and Endgame to understand that, hey, Gamora's dead. This is a different Gamora.
Yeah. Yeah. And that was I guess to even jump to a different Marvel movie to when that second Doctor Strange came out, my dad was like, "Yo, why is Wanda a bad guy?" And I was like, "Oh, well, because you have to watch WandaVision to find out what happened." And then that was all that explanation stuff. So that's the one thing I don't really like. Disney, Marvel did that. But again, I think if you can watch, well, for the exception of that one thing, that knowing that she's not the same person that she was before, because it's a totally different person who's Gamora in it. Like, other than that, it feels like if you watch them, you kind of get what's going on as far as like the whole feel of the actual film. Like each film rather, it feels like you kind of get it. Like the first one's making a family, the second one is like your biological family, for exception of Wandu, which what's the actor's name in real life? I keep forgetting.
Michael Rooker?
He's like the dopest dude ever. Like he's like 75 and is yoked. Like he's like the coolest dude ever. But like
He was in Walking Dead.
yeah, he was Daryl's brother in Walking Dead. Yeah, so that whole thing, how he was like, yo, like I didn't give you to this dude because I knew Ego was on that BS, so I kept you because I knew that you'd be better off with me. And then he's teaching mom all this stuff. So then like that's when Quinn realizes like, yo, this guy has been my dad for real the last X amount of years afterwards. I've learned a ton from this dude. So even when he kind of gives himself up at the end, and this is why I like this film, because like again, like my son was probably like 2 or 3. I'm sitting there, I'm like, dude, I would do the exact same thing.
You mean save your son?
Oh
from
yeah,
going
definitely.
On,
like yo, I'm good. I'm done. You need to go on and do your own thing.
It's a reflection of the moment from the first one when Gamora gets in the same situation and Quill goes out to save her.
Right.
And then ultimately she dies. So that sucks. That he risked it for the biscuit. And is biscuit referring to like a woman's essence or something? When
I have no clue.
It's fine if not. Which one has the best musical sequences? 1, 2, or 3?
2 for the intro. Yeah.
That was the argument I made to you offline. Damn it.
There's a lot of needle drops, man. There's a lot of needle drops.
Are you taking 1 or 3?
I'll say this. I like the trailer for 3's music. I thought that music for the trailer for 3 was dope.
They use that song when they decide they have to save their friend and get off nowhere and go on the adventure in 3.
Yeah.
I wish I could remember the song because I did add that to a playlist around the time the trailer came out.
I did too, and I can't think of the name of the song.
We're not going to look it up. So you're going to go with 3.
Just off the strength of the trailer. The trailer was dope.
I'll go with 1 simply because it set the tone of Needle Drops. Got me into Redbone.
Yeah, but what specific sequence?
The opening sequence, or I guess the credit sequence after the prologue when he's on Morag.
Yeah.
And and then it was such a strong scene that they brought it back in Endgame when they travel back to there, and then you see it from Don Cheadle's War Machine point of view, and he's like, this guy's an idiot. I guess it's good they didn't have to change any actors. So to your argument of, is this a better trilogy than Iron Man, let's say? It's better because in the Iron Man trilogy, you have to go from Terrence Howard to Don Cheadle.
Yeah, that's not a
detriment.
minus for Iron Man. Come on.
Well, yeah, because
change of actor.
It doesn't have the internal continuity that you want. Like, I think I'm going to be a little bit perturbed in Captain America: Brave New World that it's Harrison Ford instead of William Hurt, even though I understand William Hurt is dead. Whereas Terrence Howard wanted to be paid more than Robert Downey Jr.
His character is a little too old, right? To be. I mean, look at the president we have now. He's pretty old too. So.
Oh, I heard the last one was pretty old too.
Yeah.
Possibly so old he was dead.
Oh my God, these guys are so old.
Man, the president be so old. Why doesn't Glenn Close come back as Nova Prime?
Well,
they haven't been back to Nova though.
Yeah,
and okay,
we don't know what happens. Maybe she died during the Thanos attack when he attacked Nova, right? To get the stone.
Oh,
Yeah,
is
so-
Nova destroyed in
They never go
Infinity
back.
War?
Well, I think they're gonna end up doing like the Nova Corps eventually. I think that was like on like the slate of films.
It
So maybe
was
she
as
comes
like a
back
Disney
for-
Plus thing.
Yeah, so maybe she comes back a little bit for that. I mean,
Did you watch the holiday special?
no, I didn't watch the holiday special.
What?
I didn't. I
Oh
didn't.
man, where they go to Earth and meet Kevin Bacon?
No, I didn't. I want to see it now because I love Kevin Bacon.
And it takes place between 2 and 3.
I didn't see it.
Have you watched I Am Groot?
No.
I haven't.
There
Is
are
it
a
any
bunch of
good?
minisodes of Groot that are mostly animated. That's how I got my kids into Groot initially, is by showing them those little vignettes.
Nice.
Have you shown Guardians to your son?
I haven't. We watched. What did he like to watch? We watched, and this is Disney Plus. We watched Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur.
Uh-huh.
So we watched that. We watched Miss Marvel.
Oh yeah.
So he was kind of into that for a minute.
Do you like Marvels?
I did I like Marvels?
Has he seen the Marvels after seeing
He
Miss
hasn't.
Marvel?
He hasn't really seen it. He doesn't really like. He kind of follows it, but he doesn't really follow it for real.
Okay.
I thought Marvels could have been better.
My sick theory is that they cut it up because of the October 7th attacks, and that it was
What?
going to be more sympathetic to one group over the other. And they had to cut out some of the storyline of like moving because it's the Kree and I can't remember what the other one, and Kree
Skrulls.
wrote
Scrolls, yeah.
yeah,
Skrulls,
Kree and the
yeah.
Skrulls, and like in the comics, the Skrulls are always bad guys.
Yeah.
But in Captain Marvel, the Skrulls are more of like refugees, and I think the Marvels was going to lean more into like the Skrulls being a metaphor for the people of Palestine, and the Kree
okay.
being like I think that's the direction they were going, and then the worst possible attack that this 2 million person population could do happens, and that's a month before a movie, so we're gonna cut this up.
I mean,
and
they
make
should have
it-
kept it in. It probably helped them. I mean, a controversial movie probably would have helped, right?
I don't think Marvel's playing that calculus,
Yeah, probably
because
not.
they don't want to have one of their movies be controversial, because then how does it fit into the larger tapestry, if you will? They'd rather have a Thor the Dark World where it's considered middling now, and then still weave it back in with Endgame versus, how about Guardians did you see Thor Love and Thunder?
I did. I did not like that movie at all.
I don't
did
like
see it.
I don't like that the Guardians are kind of just in the beginning, and they didn't do more with that.
Yeah.
Like they set up something bigger in the end of Endgame.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would have definitely liked for them to come back and help in some way, shape, or form. But I think it was like, I don't know, it was like all of Thor's process of getting through his stuff and then kind of coming back, and then what's left is what he's dealing with. But that could have been a much better movie if it felt like that. Like, what was that phase? Was that phase 4? Was that the beginning of phase 4 or phase 3 for Marvel films? It felt like the beginning of it was really just like after Endgame. It was like, okay,
I don't think it was the beginning, but it's in the mix of
yeah,
it's phase 4, not phase 5.
faithful, okay,
Because phase 5 I can't remember what it begins with, but it's going to end with Thunderbolts, and then phase 6 starts with Fantastic Four.
oh, okay,
Oh.
yeah.
First steps.
Nice.
Trying to be hopeful with Fantastic Four. My dad's a big Fantastic Four fan,
Oh,
but I'm trying to be hopeful with it. But
did you see the trailer 7 times like I have?
I watched it once. I thought it was cool. But I've been let down by Fantastic Four so many times.
Yeah.
So even the one where the movie that dude was gonna shoot, the one who did
Josh Trank, Chronicle.
which is a dope film.
Chronicle's great.
Chronicle's good from beginning to end. I think the movie that he was gonna actually do, I think it would have been better if they would just let him go ahead and do it.
Hey, to your earlier point, his episode 9 of Star Wars has people, or no, he was going to do a Boba Fett movie or something like that, but then because of how bad Fantastic Four went, he didn't get to do his Star Wars movie.
And I don't think he's done much since. I don't think.
He did something with Venom, not the Venom series, but Tom Hardy was in some sort of mobster movie with him, but didn't do particularly well. Not sorry, Josh Trank.
Yeah, we know you're listening.
He might be.
I didn't like the Venom trilogy at all.
You don't like the Venom trilogy?
There's no Spider-Man.
What?
Yeah.
Oh,
There's no
well.
Spider-Man. You have to have. It does not. To me, it does not work without
Wasted
Spider-Man.
opportunity.
That's the whole reason why Venom is there. Because in that again, that's a canon thing with me. But it's Spider-Man is the reason for Venom.
A great man once said that filmmakers need to be able to tell the stories they want to tell, and what I find. See, that was you earlier. And
Wow.
what I like about the Venom movies is that the way he talks to himself, or he's talking to Venom, I, as a crazy person, relate to that a lot. And those movies are hilarious because of the performance of Tom Hardy.
Yeah, that part's cool because that's exactly what happens in the comics. He's talking to Eddie Brock all the time. I need to have that whole back and forth with Spider-Man. I think that's what makes Venom Venom to me.
I feel like it's okay to say this because it's already been released online. The first 8 minutes of the new Spider-Man show where Venom shows up.
Oh.
Yeah, it's like have
he
you
a
seen
bug?
the Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man?
I saw the trailer, but it looks like a bug, right? Is he a bug or is
I think
he...
it's a Venom.
Oh.
I can't tell. Well, that's if your son liked Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur, I would assume Neighborhood Spider-Man is gonna kill because it's the conceit, as I understand it, is that Norman Osborn is the Tony Stark to Peter Parker instead of Tony Stark.
Well, I wanted it to have stayed in MCU. What's the number they
It
gave
was
it?
too
616,
constraining to have it in
yeah.
the 616, so it's clearly in the multiverse. That's the other thing, is that the Guardians don't really deal with the multiverse, and I don't like that they're in space and they don't deal with Captain Marvel. They don't know Captain Marvel.
Yeah,
I understand space is big, but instead of maybe the multiverse stuff, they could have explored more of the cosmos first. Far be it from me to tell Kevin Feige how to do his job, but not that far. Kevin, let me know. Well, Brandon, what should people look forward to in the interview section that will come after this?
hopefully you'll learn about a little bit where I'm from, how I came up, the stuff I've done in the past, Missouri.
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 Oh, wait,
Wherever
okay.
Missouri
I've
is.
asked you that before, right? That some
What?
people call it Missouri. People from there call it Missouri sometimes.
Like people that call Illinois.
I call Illinois to be funny. Do people from Illinois do that?
I don't know.
Do you know anyone from Illinois?
No.
I was in a wedding in Illinois as a best man last year.
And you didn't ask them?
I just said Illinois a bunch to Illinois people around me.
They didn't
Nice.
say anything?
I think they were thinking like he's the best man he can get away with.
You got it, yeah.
okay.
You're
Yeah.
being nice. You're being
Yes.
nice.
It's nice when you have that privilege
Yeah, and the power.
and that power. Yes, the privilege and the power. Much like how they have the Power Stone in Guardians.
Nice.
There you go.
I think that's a
Good segue.
good cap to end it right there.